Aside from the obvious weight disadvantage, Canelo Alvarez is fully aware that he's about to face the toughest challenge of his career when Terence Crawford steps up 2 weight classes to meet him in the 168-pound division later this year. Knowing the magnitude of the challenge, Canelo has started his training early to ensure he's physically and mentally prepared for the fight against the first ever undisputed world champion. Across multiple weight divisions in the 4-belt era. To get ready for Crawford, Canelo has been implementing new training techniques aimed at adapting to his opponent's exceptional in-ring mobility, boxing skills, and counter-punching precision.
Al 100%.
Canelo's preparation has been nothing short of intense, as he aims to avoid suffering a 3rd loss in his career. A loss here would not only be a painful defeat, but would also mean losing all his titles. Potentially marking the end of his reign and the closing chapter on his days as a dominant force in the sport. When asked in the past why he continues boxing despite his extensive achievements, Canelo has always emphasized that his love for the sport is what drives him. "I love boxing," he said. "You're one of the best fighters in history, and you're very successful. You don't have to work. You could retire today if you wanted to, but I love boxing." Bang. "I love boxing and I love fighting." This passion is real, and while many of Canelo's fans would prefer he doesn't go out with a humiliating loss to a fighter from a lower weight class, they would rather see him gracefully retire as a champion. Known by his nickname, Canelo, he remains the first and only boxer in history to become the undisputed champion at super middleweight, having held the WBA Super, WBC, and Ring Magazine titles since 2020.
But you're very successful. You don't have to work hard. You could retire today if you wanted to.
I love boxing. I love boxing and I love being...
He later added the IBF and WBO belts to his collection in 2021. However, he did lose one of those titles when he failed to face a mandatory challenger. Canelo trains 6 days a week during his fight camp, taking Sundays as his only rest day. His routine includes 2 training sessions a day. He starts his mornings with a run around 6 a.m., and after breakfast, he takes a short nap to recharge for his afternoon session. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are dedicated to his boxing exercises. These days focus solely on boxing, with Canelo performing a variety of drills to sharpen his skills and devise strategies for the upcoming fight.
They know Crawford can beat Canelo just like they knew Bud was going to beat Smith. It's real simple. Real simple. You just got to know boxing in order for you to be able to say it.
His training includes jump rope, shadow boxing, heavy bag work, and strategic drills. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays are reserved for sparring sessions. Canelo and his coaches focus intensely on fight preparation, visualizing scenarios in the ring and refining his techniques in anticipation of the big day. When asked about his sparring sessions, Canelo described them as the toughest part of his training, but also the most rewarding. To build strength, Canelo combines bodyweight exercises with weight training. This well-rounded approach ensures he develops the strength and conditioning necessary for a champion preparing for a major bout. Canelo also relies on sparring partners to challenge him, similar to his collaboration with Teofimo Lopez, the super lightweight world champion. In a viral video, Canelo and Lopez are seen training together at a camp near Lake Tahoe, located on the border of Nevada and California. In the video, Canelo works on his defensive techniques, slipping punches, and practicing waist movements, all without headgear, marking punches instead of taking full contact. Eddie Reynoso, Canelo's trainer, supervises the entire session, offering guidance and ensuring the fighters stay on track. During their training, Canelo shares his expertise with Lopez, particularly on handling tough situations when cornered in the ring. This collaboration has generated significant buzz online, as fans and analysts alike are eager to see how these insights will affect both fighters' upcoming bouts. As Canelo prepares for his super middleweight title defense on Mexican Independence Day, his legendary trainer Eddie Reynoso continues to play a key role in his success. Canelo's training partnership with Reynoso has been one of the most enduring and successful in boxing, dating back to 2003, when a 14-year-old Canelo first walked into Reynoso's gym in Guadalajara, Mexico. At the time, Reynoso was just 27 years old, but his keen eye for talent quickly recognized Canelo's potential due to his raw power and skill. In the world of boxing, Canelo's legacy continues to grow as he refines his skills and prepares for future challenges, with his eyes set on defending his title and advancing his already stellar career. Canelo's connection with the Rossos, especially Eddie, evolved beyond the typical trainer-fighter dynamic into a more profound father-son bond. Eddie Rosso played a pivotal role in enhancing Canelo's boxing technique, while also being a crucial influence in shaping his career. Under Rosso's mentorship, Canelo rose through the ranks to become one of the world's top pound-for-pound fighters. He captured multiple world titles across various weight classes, solidifying his place as a boxing legend. Terence Crawford is fully aware of the physical disadvantages he might face in a fight against Canelo, particularly due to the size difference, which will likely play a significant role. However, Crawford remains confident in his ability to overcome these challenges and impose his unique boxing style. Some analysts have questioned Crawford's readiness to compete effectively at super middleweight, especially considering his most recent fight, a points win over Israel Madrimov at super welterweight, that didn't showcase the dominance many expected. Hardcore boxing fans, however, believe Crawford has the skills to take down Canelo, just as they had faith he would triumph in previous bouts. Despite concerns about the size difference, the potential matchup between Canelo and Crawford has captivated the boxing world. Both fighters possess a mix of power, speed, technique, and charisma, promising a thrilling and potentially unforgettable event. Canelo Alvarez has developed a tradition of fighting twice a year, once in May and again in September during the Mexican Independence weekend. Since 2022, he's scheduled his fights around these 2 months, and it's expected that he'll continue this pattern. As a result, fans are eagerly awaiting the announcement of his next opponent. There's been limited interest in facing David Benavidez, the mandatory WBC challenger at 168 pounds, but Terence Crawford has emerged as a strong candidate for Canelo's first fight of the year. However, questions remain about whether Crawford's potential match with Canelo is more of a media-driven spectacle than a competitive contest, given Crawford's natural weight class is 154 pounds, 2 categories below Canelo's. Nevertheless, Crawford and fellow contender Shakur Stevenson are reportedly attempting to persuade Canelo to accept the fight, despite Crawford's current weight disadvantage. On the other hand, Canelo's evasiveness regarding a bout with Benavidez and the 175-pound weight class could lead him to explore other intriguing options for 2025. Another name that has come up as a potential opponent for Canelo is Christian Emile, a 29-year-old undefeated Frenchman with a perfect 28-0 record. Emil made a strong statement with his recent win over Sergey Derevianchenko in August and could be a contender for the WBC title. Another possibility, previously ruled out in September, was IBF challenger William Szpilka. As 2025 unfolds, Canelo's fans are eagerly awaiting to see who will be the next to challenge the Mexican icon in the ring. An organization recently stripped the undisputed title from the Mexican boxer for refusing to face the Cuban contender, ultimately taking away his world championship as well. Canelo Alvarez has long been known to set his own catchweights, and for years he's faced opponents who were smaller than him, including Mayweather and others. Now, a fight between Saul Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford is seen as one of the most highly anticipated bouts in boxing today. With the growing involvement of Saudi Arabia in the sport, this dream fight seems more achievable than ever. Trainer Robert Garcia shared his thoughts on why Canelo might have the upper hand in such a showdown and spoke about Crawford's future, including the possibility of Crawford retiring if he doesn't get the Canelo fight soon. Garcia explained in a recent interview with Fight Hype that Crawford knows the Canelo fight represents the biggest payday of his career. Having already achieved everything he set out to do, Crawford might not feel the need to continue boxing. "He's a smart man," Garcia said. "He's already done it all. He doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. I've spoken to him personally, and I believe that if he doesn't get the Canelo fight, he might walk away from the sport for good." Garcia also mentioned that Crawford has a wealth of options in the junior middleweight division should he choose to challenge other champions. Top contenders like WBC and WBO champion Sebastian Fundora, IBF champion Bakram Murtazaliev, as well as fighters like Jermell Charlo, Virgil Ortiz Jr., Sergey Boychuk, and Xander Zayas could all be on his radar. But Garcia pointed out that Crawford is focused on Canelo, knowing that a fight at 168 pounds would bring in a significantly larger payday. Garcia also mentioned that Crawford could land some solid rounds, but ultimately might get stopped or knocked out. Nevertheless, he'll put up a good fight while it lasts. In another story, a boxing coach revealed that he received racist and hateful messages after picking Terence Crawford to beat Canelo Alvarez should the much-anticipated fight between the two happen in 2025. So why did Stephen Edwards stand by his pick? The 34-year-old Edwards is currently the unified super middleweight champion and widely considered one of the biggest names in boxing. Canelo, the Mexican superstar, is known for his relentless pressure, sharp counterpunching, and durable chin, which have helped him win 62 fights and claim championships in 4 different weight classes, challenging in 5. On the other hand, there's the 37-year-old Crawford, who's also a 4-weight champion, and the unified light middleweight champion. Canelo is undoubtedly an outstanding fighter, but I believe he's showing some signs of slowing down. The Canelo who fought Golovkin was impressive, but his switch hitting and tactical intelligence have earned him high praise. He remains a versatile fighter, having won 41 matches, 31 of them by knockout. The showdown between these two is a thrilling prospect for boxing experts and casual fans alike, which is why Saudi Arabia is eager to bring this fight to life. However, some individuals have taken things too far, with Edwards revealing that he's been bombarded with hateful messages for backing Crawford. "I get more racist and hateful emails than you can imagine," Edwards shared with the media, as reported by Boxing Scene. "Just because I picked Crawford to beat Canelo doesn't mean it's a personal vendetta. The facts speak for themselves. Crawford allowed fighters like Berlanga, Mia, and Charlo to go the distance with him. These are people who try to bait me into posting their emails because they thrive on seeing their names online. They claim they despise me and disregard my opinions, yet they can't help but read my mailbag every week. It's a strange kind of obsession. The truth is, If Canelo really wants to prove me wrong, all he has to do is accept the fight. His fans should be upset with him, not with me. When I picked Canelo to beat Bivol, and I was completely wrong, not a single person sent me a hateful message. That was one of the worst picks I've ever made. There's no shame in losing to Bivol. He proved himself to be a great fighter. Yet no one claimed there was a conspiracy against them because of my prediction. It's clear that once Canelo figured out how to handle Bivol, he didn't press the attack and didn't adjust his strategy. On the other hand, Crawford's movement, his footwork, and his strategy will be hard to match, even for a fighter as talented as Canelo. Canelo is known for his intelligence in the ring, and his physical strength is impressive too. He's even reportedly dominated heavyweights in the gym, but he also understands that size isn't everything. He's had trouble with fighters like Mayweather, Lara, and Trout, who share traits similar to Bud Crawford. Even if you can't see it, I'm sticking to my pick. Terence Crawford will beat Canelo Alvarez by a close decision. You can insult me all you want, but this is my prediction, and I stand by it. For Garcia, the question isn't about money. Crawford has already secured his financial future through wise investments. If Crawford does return to the ring, it would be for one reason: to fight Canelo and end his career on a high note. He's looking for that big fight, enjoying his life. He doesn't need to fight anymore, but if the Canelo fight happens, he'll take it, Garcia added. But if it doesn't, we might never see him fight again. So, it's clear, Crawford's future hinges on one thing: landing that massive fight with Canelo Alvarez. If it doesn't come to fruition, we may never see Crawford step into the ring again. Does he have a chance in the fight? Everyone always has a chance, but I think he'll manage to make it competitive for a few rounds. However, I believe he'll ultimately lose to Canelo if the fight happens with the boxer from Guadalajara. Garcia thinks that Crawford could hold his own against Canelo for several rounds. Possibly not enough to defeat him, but enough to earn his respect and the admiration of fans. Look, I believe Crawford will give a strong performance in the early rounds. The first 6 to 8 rounds would likely be very competitive. Crawford has a lot of skill, he's incredibly strong, fast, and possesses enough power to command Canelo's respect. But over time, I think Canelo's size and strength will become too much for him. Still, those first few rounds would definitely be exciting. Crawford may not be stronger than Canelo, but his strength is more than enough for this kind of matchup. This is not a weightlifting competition. Now, if Crawford and Canelo fight on May 3rd or 10th, close to Cinco de Mayo, Canelo might still be waiting to see the outcome of the February 22nd light heavyweight fight between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. Canelo might want to challenge Bivol again for a rematch. Both of those light heavyweights are top-tier fighters, so that will be an interesting one to watch. When it comes to whether Crawford's skill level can make up for the weight disparity, some people say if they fought at the same weight, it'd be a fair contest. But Crawford just moved up to 154, and now he's talking about 168. There's a big gap between those two weight classes. Tyson Fury also has thoughts on this. He believes Crawford's chances against Canelo are slim, especially at 168 pounds. Fury acknowledges that Crawford would have had a better shot if this fight had taken place years ago at a lower weight class. He's clearly favoring Canelo at 168. He also pointed out that Crawford moving up from 147 to 168 would be a huge challenge for him. Mike Tyson even weighed in, expressing doubts about Crawford's ability to handle the weight difference, recalling how Crawford struggled with the awkwardness of his last opponent, who was much bigger than him. Tyson thinks Crawford might not have even been in the right fight to begin with. Despite being taller than Canelo, Crawford is lean and might lose out on strength in a heavier weight class. But Crawford knows his body better than anyone, and he's made it clear that moving up in weight is part of his strategy to test himself against the best. So, Crawford may soon get his chance at greatness, and the weight difference will only add to his legacy if he can pull off an upset against Canelo. That's all for now. Stay tuned for the latest news, fights, and analysis in boxing by subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss any updates. Until next time, peace out.